I've always said it on this program that Africa has got a lot of potential that we are yet to really tap and utilize to make the continent a better place for all of us. Today on Trailblazers Africa, I've got someone who also believe in Africa, not a full-fledged African, because of course from the United States of America, I've got a lot of guests on this program. So today, I will be speaking with a wonderful guest that, she's visiting Ghana, and my search light just, picked her, and we are bringing her right into your living room this wonderful day. My name is Moses Owopade. As we do it week in, week out, bringing people that believe in Africa, people who also want to contribute to the development of the continent of Africa. I'll bring them to you so that we can all move together and become a very stronger people that everybody would appreciate us. I've got, I call her Mama, but then for the purpose of the program, I'll call her Laverne. Adekunle. Laverne, I'd like to welcome you to Africa.
Thank you.
Perhaps for the first time in Africa?
No, this is my third visit.
But first time in Ghana?
First time in Ghana.
Wow. When you were coming in, one of us just asked, how did you see Ghana?
It seems very populated like Nigeria.
But very beautiful.
I love the beach. It's coastal. It's a coastal city, so I love it.
All right. Now, welcome to Trailblazers Africa.
Okay.
Now, let's take a look at you as a place. People believe that Americans, Europeans, they were born into wealth, grew up in wealth, and everything is just so easy. Could you just tell me a little about your life?
Thank you. I come from a typical American family where there was a particular single parent. My grandmother raised me, and from that, she was what they call now a domestic housekeeper for a very wealthy family. And so I grew up learning certain things that's just privileged to people that's come from affluent families. So I didn't come from an affluent family, but at that time in my life, it felt like it because I had so many privileges because of the family that my mom and my grandmother worked with. So I had a regular, ordinary, single-parent family lifestyle, and I was always informed and taught how to be a part of giving and serving and helping others. So it was just a regular lifestyle. I mean, it's nothing of wealth that's like some people are born into wealth and they never had to work. I worked as a child, teenager. I tried to learn how to crop tobacco, and it didn't work so well. Then I tried to learn how to chop cotton, 12-hour days, chopping in the fields. Okay, so I had that experience as a teenager. And from that, I learned how, just before going to college, I learned how to work in programs called Manpower that helps families that are underprivileged get jobs. So I learned how to do clerical work through a program for people that's not that privileged. And from that, going on to college, I went through what in America is called Job Corps. And I received a scholarship and were able to go on and go to college. But no, not every American is born into wealth and money. It's a lot of families that are struggling to be successful. And you have to go to school to get the six-figure income. And a lot of people that's well-educated don't make six-figure incomes, and they have bachelors and masters and PhDs and still don't earn that kind of money. So it's a misconception of people think that Americans are born wealthy. Not many. The statistics show, I think it's 2% of Americans or 1% of Americans make over $100,000 a year. Can you believe that? So it's not quite, it maybe depend on the level of how you compare poverty and wealth. Okay, so you have some people that are below what they call middle income and low income in America. And the 1%ers that make more than $100,000 a year, let's put a number to it, they are the ones that have a better lifestyle. But you will be surprised that it's not the wealth that a lot of the Africans think.
So that impression that most people have is not really true.
that no, everything is rosy over there.
No.
Some people are even struggling to come to America.
Yeah.
Leaving Africa for America.
Yeah, I can understand it because the opportunities and the laws, and it's a number of things that makes America attractive, no doubt. It's like the melting pot of the world, and the opportunities are very vast. Now, that is true. But making it and being successful in America, it takes steps and times, because once they enter into America, they have so many laws and regulations through immigration that they have to comply with just to become a citizen. So it's not easy. It is not easy.
Well, you just got it that it's not easy. Well, but opportunities are there for you if you're lucky to make it. But then that is not to actually. Now let's take a look at youth in America.
Okay.
Now, how is their lifestyle? What kind of youth are we really Are we breeding? In our America. You see, the same. I want to relate it to what we have in Africa. You say you've been this is your third time in Africa. You've interacted with a few youth here. What would you say is the difference?
Well, in America, our youth, the young people, not in my generation, but this younger generation, are, I would call it the generation of indulgence. The parents make sure that they have everything and more. I can remember as a little girl growing up, just to be able to get your favorite doll, maybe another toy, and an outfit was a big Christmas. And now you see kids got iPods, they have the little things with the plugs in there, MP4, MP3, televisions in every room of the house. I mean, and clothes, I mean, shoes, it's nothing for a kid to wear a $200 pair of sneakers. And so their lifestyle is very, very indulgent, and they're very spoiled, and they don't have the level of respect or the gratitude that my generation perhaps had, because the parents have spoiled them to make sure they have everything that they didn't have. So our generation is totally different. It's a different world compared to where it was when I was a child.
Well, I want to say the same thing here in Africa, because a lot of younger generation don't really have respect for the elderly ones. But then I think, what do you think is missing? Is it civilization that is causing all this, or like you said, the parents are giving too much to this younger generation that they shouldn't be exposed to? Could that be the reason for the lack of decorum, lack of respect, lack of passion and vision amongst the youth?
It's going to go both ways for me. My personal opinion, when they took prayer out of school and they took discipline from the parents by laws in America, it broke a lot of traditional standards in the home. Because when I was growing up, you were disciplined for disrespecting an adult, and you were taught love thy neighbor and giving and doing. Whereas now, in this generation, they're getting away from that. Kids don't have a bedtime. Kids, they see everything on TV, and it's so much now that the media is giving too much information, and the children absorbing it much faster, and they're acting out on a lot of things that they're seeing in TV. So it's a number of things that causes the generations to lose a lot of the principles and the basic things that we were taught when we were young.
Well, my research about you shows that you were so passionate about Africa. Why the passion for Africa?
It's a number of things. Let me share. A few years ago, I was a speaker in a symposium in Atlanta for Anima Institute. And because they gave me a subject that I wasn't very versed in to speak from, and I was on a panel of, everyone on the panel was a PhD but me. And so it made me do a lot of study. And of course, I remember back in the day when Feed the Children was very big. I was a volunteer for Feed the Children organization. So I can go with that. I can go back as far as the 80s to seeing how I started developing a desire more for Africa.
Yeah.
But not until we did the symposium in Atlanta where they were talking about the economics and what can we do to help Africa become more modern, that I begin to take more of an interest in what can I do to be a help. And then the interest come even more so over when she did her tour of Africa before she did the school. You know, it's kind of like the more you become open and aware of the world and your heritage, it makes you have more of a love and a respect for it. And I have such a respect for Africa for so many reasons, but that's because of I've been influenced by seeing what other people were doing and kind of want to take a part of it because I'm going, hey, this is my heritage too. So I want to have an interest. I want to know more. I want to learn more about Africa and what can I do to empower them as well.
Wow. And now, let's take a look at some of the things you have found about Africa. We look at the leadership, we look at the followership, we look at the people, we look at everybody in Africa, we look at the information technology, we look at, so many things that, in Africa. From your own research and the understanding you have that brought you to, show interest in Africa, what area do you think Africa needs to really, probably work on?
Well, I will personally, it's a number of things, but particularly economics, and I'm very interested in the entertainment industry.
Okay.
I have a deep desire to see people that are gifted and talented be discovered, because one of the things that we can empower our people to become more employable, and we can, put money back into our communities, the better we can make our own economy. So that's very important to me, to see people be able to become more employable.
Now, before we go into the entertainment, let's take a look at the economy that you mentioned. Now, Africa is seen as the home of agriculture. My research even shows that 50% of the land, of agricultural whatever, is in Africa. 50%. And we share the remaining 50% for the rest of the world. Now, what are the things that you get from Africa that anytime you pick it, maybe like a crop or whatever, do you have so many of such in the U.S.?
Yes, but not quite displayed like in America, like it is in Africa. Here, like just on the streets, you see all of the people selling the fruit and the vegetables, and so it's accessible so much easier. Whereas in America, they have the government governs how food is sold and distributed, so it makes it a little bit different. And yes, I agree, there's a lot of agriculture in Africa, and to me that can be refined somewhat, because it's so much here, so much land, and so much can be done in that area.
But do you see us, utilizing all that to maximum?
No, not alone. Not alone. I think collaboration is a lot more can be done.
Now, collaboration. You are one of the people that feel you can collaborate with Africa. You can come to Africa and do something. How many of you do we have? How many of Europeans do we have that we have the right spirit, the right heart, not just to come and take from Africa and then put some junks back to Africa? How many people? How many? Do you have others like you? You understand what I mean?
Yes, it is. It is. You'll be surprised. It's a lot of people want to give and want to do. They just don't sometimes know how. I know we all know that the world has more takers than givers, but the givers are there. There are people that want to sow. They just need to know, how do I sow a seed into your ministry? How do I sow a seed into your country? We have to share information on how people can come in and be a help. Sometimes people feel like the country don't want me here, and they won't come as freely. But if they feel like it's an open door policy, they'll come and they'll help and they give. Everybody come to Africa is not here to take. They are here to give. And if we embrace people that will give, more will come forth.
Yeah, when you talk about embracing, Africans and how much are Africans being embraced in the United States of America? How? Do you really embrace us? Do you really, associate with us? Do you really love us the way we love you people? Everybody wants to probably, I'm sure most young guys there want to be married to American ladies. You know what I mean?
Well, it's a lot of things have happened, and it's sad. Nigeria has this name 419. So when you mention, I know, it's kind of it's uncomfortable for some people.
It's one of the crew that was just that is it again.
Yeah, it's when you say, like, people when they hear my last name, they want to know how did I get the name, and I say, well, my ex-husband was a Nigerian doctor. Okay.
Wow.
So one of the things they go Nigerian, they go with this negative connotation, and it's because so many people have scammed so many Americans, and then too the media in America pretty much shows Nigeria or Africa still like the feed the children saga. It's like poverty is so bad and there's not much good, and I'll go, every black American need to come to Africa and see how they're more martyred than you think. They don't live in trees.
Wow.
They have
all right, I'll be going there.
And to me, it's so exciting because when I had my first experience, I was very emotional leaving because I felt like, this is that part of me that was missing. Learning where you come from and how Africa has such a place in history, and it's profound that you have kings and queens and a lot of politicians here that are very accomplished people that people in America don't even know. The only queen you hear about is what? The Queen of England.
Wow.
So it's so much that is yet need to be exposed about Africa, and it's going to take people sharing their experiences and all of the positiveness. And we have to show that there are good people in Africa. Everybody's not scamming you, America. Everybody's not trying to take from the Americans.
Wow, I think this is the time that we Africans begin to export, good things about Africa to the rest of the world.
Yes.
You remember there was a time I handled a Deutsche Welle reporter in this studio, and I did mention that they rather give a bad impression. The media in America, in Europe, Asia, they rather give bad impression about Africa, trying to portray Africa as people living on the trees. Now, you have been in Ghana now for some days. Did you see anybody sleep on the tree?
No, absolutely not.
But maybe you will go back and tell them that Africans don't live on the tree.
Well, just recently, and to my surprise, this particular woman is in media, okay? And so she took for granted that Africa still have people living in trees, okay? And so I say, no, I'm trying to explain, because they go, well, you want to go back to Africa. What's with you in Africa? It's so negative. And so I went and got some links to send her to, so Gollywood, Bella Naja, people that are doing some great things in Africa and affluent. When she got through going through the link, she said, I'm profoundly shocked. I did not know Africa was even that modern. And see, there's only been, I think, 2 movies that were showing Africa in a more positive light. But that's about it. I cannot even tell you that people really do understand that Africa is modern. It's more modern than they think it is.
Africans are more modern than you think, and it's more modern than what people think. This is Laverne Adekunle, a passionate American who believes that Africa has got a whole lot to give back to, the rest of the world. Yes. Now, let's take a look at, the entertainment world. What have you discovered?
Well, for me, I've discovered that I've seen a show not too very long ago that were dealing with researching on Hispanic talent. And I'm like, when I started one of my projects, I discovered that there was a lot of hidden talent in Africa. And it made me have more of an interest in discovering these people and showing the world that we have talent that's here. It's like, not only is Africa known for diamonds and minerals and agriculture, but Africa has a lot of people that are absolutely talented. Performers, singers, dancers, authors, writers, and the list just goes on.
So what do you want to bring now that you have seen, or you just want to come and see? Maybe after some days you go back, or you really want to impact yourself?
Oh, no.
Into,
I'm putting some roots down here.
you want to put some roots down?
Yes, I do. One of the things that's interesting to me is being able to share not only my vision, but to be able to bring people aboard that believe like I believe. You know, it's like-minded people or people that are compatible. How can we find these people? How can we bring more exposure to these people? That is something that I've been doing on a smaller scale, but looking for collaboration. One of the things we like to do is a reality show featuring people that we have found that we thought would be undiscoverable people, but people that's in the trenches that's got these gifts and these talents, and bring them and show to the world that, hey, this person has an opportunity to be able to be successful. Their destiny is not predicated to just because they're in Africa.
So you want to discover those people?
Yes.
And take them over to America?
I would like, no, I don't want to feel like they got to come to America, but I would love to be able to do an event where once we get the people discovered and help them get contracts and help them get the next big job or whatever, the gig, as some people call it, I would like to do a big event in America and bring them there so they can at least have that experience too and be able to film that as well.
Wow. So you want to take them there to go and also exhibit their
talent. I want to give them that experience. And so think about the impact it will have. Yes, we bring some Americans here. They actually get the African experience, and then we bring some Africans to America, and they get the American experience. And look how wonderful that would be, and the fallout from that. These people will have life-changing experience on both ends.
Now, let's take a look at this collaboration you mentioned. I'm aware here in Africa, we have several movies that features Nigeria, Ghanaians, Nigerian, Sierra Leonean, Ghanaians, Liberians, and what have you. You see the collaboration. Now, are we doing enough with America? Is African, actors, actresses, African talent, are they really collaborating with the Hollywood and the rest?
Very, very little. Two popular actors, you may recognize their name, if I can say the name right. The guy from Blood Diamonds, Damon Honsu, if I'm pronouncing it right.
Nonso.
Okay.
Okay.
He gets quite a few roles. And the other guy, Chiwetel Ejiofor, as I'm saying it right.
Okay, Ejiofor.
12, I think his newest movie is 12 Days a Slave or something like that,
okay.
Or 12 Years a Slave. Those actors, because they have built their name, they have good team of people working with them, they get a lot of parts. But it's so many more. Boris Kojo, who is half German, half African, I think, as a matter of fact, half Nigerian. But my point of bringing it up is you're seeing some getting roles, but it's very little, So I think that is a big area that can be worked on where there is more collaboration between the Americans and the Africans doing more projects together.
Now, the talent that you have discovered do not only limit to Ghana, not only in Ghana, but the rest of, the whole of Africa, or your vision is just for Ghana alone?
No, it's the whole of Africa. Right now, we're in about 14 countries besides Europe.
Come on, tell us. Tell me more.
Okay, we have people in Togo, Congo, South Africa, Nigeria, and Liberia, Sierra Leone. It's a lot of countries where we have representation already. They're just waiting for us to bring the full circle of people to empower them. We have one gentleman right here in Ghana who is our president and director for this region. And we have some in all these other countries as well. So we have people ready. We're just waiting on people to come forth and help lift us up to the next level. It's like bringing people together to push people up. So people pushing people up.
People pushing people up. I think that some of my crew members will also be part of the people that will push people up, or some of the people that should be pushed up, because they are wonderful people. I tell you, I've got a lot of talent here. Now, I've seen several Americans Got Talent, but I want to tell you, Crystal TV has got talent. So you have a lot of talent here.
Yes.
So how many will you be picking?
Well, we're interested in one of Oba and I. He's the director for Ghana. One of the things we were talking about just last night, we are not just interested in singers and dancers. We're looking for that artist. We're looking for that sculpture. We're looking for that author, that fashion designer, that model. People that normally that's under, they just not represented well, and they don't have that opportunity. So we're looking for a vast range of talent that we can share and help them become more successful in what they're doing. And we're hoping that because we're paying it forward and we're showing random acts of kindness, that they'll be able to do that. So if I lift you up, I want you to lift your neighbor up.
If I lift you up, I want you to lift your neighbor up. We'll be going for a short break, and when we return, my guest will remain with me. I tell you, this is one of the brains that would continue to be appreciated. Those who have passion for Africa. Don't forget that this program is all about Africa, Trailblazers Africa, those who are really willing to push the continent of Africa forward. And then if we all put our brains together from what she has said, I guess Africa will become a better place. We go for the short break. I'll be back. Welcome back from that break. The program is Trailblazers Africa with me, Moses Owopade, and of course I've got a wonderful guest, Laverne Adekunle. The Adekunle, she just mentioned it briefly that she had something to do with Nigeria, because that name, of course, sounds like a Nigerian name. I know it's a Nigerian name, but she's been talking about getting some talents here and pushing them abroad. I mean, to America, and making them to become better in life. Now, let's take a look at the countries you have been to in Africa. How many of them?
Now, I've only been to Nigeria.
Okay.
I've been to Minna, Ibadan, Lagos.
Lovely place, I must say.
Dusty. Minna it was dust storm when I was in Minna. Never. I left home with clean clothes and come back dirty.
Well, that is the best of Africa. Now, you were talking about collaboration.
Yes.
I don't want us to look at the collaboration from that entertainment world alone. Let's take a look at the economic collaboration.
Okay.
Now, how best can Africa collaborate with the developed country, and we'll all have the right mind, to make things happen? Not I want to collaborate. The fear of collaboration is by the time I collaborate with you, you take everything away from me, and I'm not getting anything back again.
Yeah.
Now, economically, how can we really collaborate?
Well, to me, and it goes back to understanding. There was a time in life where your word was your bond. If you say, okay, if you give me some carrots, I'm going to give you some pineapple, and I'm going to give you 2. Now, it was verbal agreements. Now you have to have a contract. You have to have a confidentiality statement. You have to have non-disclosures. But if you're going to collaborate with someone and you both feel like, hey, okay, I want to move forward with whatever the project may be, and you have paperwork between you so you feel comfortably legally, then you can start saying, okay, now we can go somewhere, because What I'm going to do, I'm going to give you this, I'm going to put it in writing. You're going to give me that, I'm going to put it in writing. So now we both can relax because we are going to work on this project together, and we both have done the legal side part of that. And then we can start working on what it is we want to do, be it ministry or nonprofit, what you guys call NGOs here. In whatever, even if it's just a business. And if you notice in the world now, you're seeing major companies merging or companies buying out other companies, and people are partnering because it is better. It shows even when you're applying for funding in some companies, they want projects. They want to see who you collaborate with.
Okay.
Or do you have that personality or that type of business where you are open to have a partnership or to work with some people? Some people are on an island. They want to be alone. They don't want to work with anybody. But you'll see a lot of companies that are super successful because they did collaborate. It's better sometimes to have one supporter than no supporters.
It's better for you to have one supporter than having no one at all. Now, have we really gotten that? You know, you said you've done a lot of, couples of seminars, and I've seen so much about you, that you are a writer. I've seen so much, I've read so much about you, and I begin to wonder. I was forced to say, is this person human being? Or is a spirit? Now, I learned you've been giving so much to the society. Where did the spirit of giving come from?
I think it comes from being a